This is Mango the Goat, and this is another mental liberation moment. It's also the IIP. IIP stands for Involuntary Immigrants Podcast. Now, when I did an interview with Dina the Goddess, I said, fuck 12. And I said that towards filthy cops. And truthfully, my opinion don't change. Because until the good cops police the bad cops, they all contaminated. You know, it's like the hood, right? You got many great families that live in these crime-infested communities or these crime-infested areas, right? But because of a few bad apples, I did the quotation mark, a few bad apples, the entire neighborhood is tainted. But my question is, why does that only apply to black shit mostly, right? Why is that same philosophy not charged to like police, politicians, or political parties? Hell, even governments, right? There's never a one bad politician there and nobody does anything for it. Oh, that whole thing is corrupted. Why is it never like that for the masses? But it'd be one of our communities, one of our neighborhoods, and 3 people are just violent criminals or whatever. That whole neighborhood's you know. And, you know, I'm not a hypocrite. I know there's bad areas here and bad areas there, and you know, that's what we call it. That's a bad area. And they have mostly good family. There's no community that can survive with the majority of criminals and nobody being law-abiding citizens or productive people. None. The only place that happens, it could happen like that is like your slum areas, right? And even in your slum areas, that's where, see, it's a difference. Crime is crime, but there is a difference, right? When it's crime based on crime by way of survival, product of your environment or product of my environment, or just fucking evil people. It's different levels of crime. You know, a lot of drug dealers that was selling crack and this and that. A lot of them, if you look at the areas where crack boomed up the most, is where factories were lost. And so there's no, what am I looking for here? Help me out, somebody. There's no opportunities. So it's people finding opportunities. You know, wherever there's a will to live, there's also going to be a will to break a rule or two. Right? But then you do have people that don't want to work, they don't want to do right. It's easier to them to take the criminal route. So you just have some evil people, and then you have some people that's a victim of circumstance. It's too many variables to laws. And that's not just for black people. That's everywhere. That's human nature. That's not a race-based thing. That's human nature. Now, that's a human nature based on poverty. Our shit gets put under the microscope. And you know it's crazy, right? This might be a stretch, but you might understand where I'm coming from. Just hear me out. It's like the active shooters that we recently had, right? These active shooters, all you hear people talking about is, mental illness. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think none of these active shooters have mental illness. Mental illness to me is like bipolar disorder or, some kind of retardation of the mind, right? Where you just fucked up in your head. And I'm not trying to diss these people, so don't come in with that shit. But hear me out. That's what I think of with mental illness. Certain levels of like postmortem depression, I could see that being mental illness, right? But depression itself, I don't consider mental illness. Like some people say, well, what if it's a trauma? Okay, the depression is not your mental illness. The PTSD is. And I see them as two different things. But the problem I have here with the active shooters, I'm going to talk about the last two, the Uvalde and then the 4th of July one first, right? because to me, they're the least important. But those two people did not have mental illness. They had plans. The 4th of July motherfucker, he had a whole escape plan. He was going to dress like a transgender and blend in through the crowd. He had a plan. The Uvalde motherfucker, he was weird or whatever, but he had a plan. That wasn't a moment of insanity. None of that shit. They had plans. They had an agenda. So when evil plans are made and fulfilled, it's done by evil people. By his deeds, a man shall be known. So if your deed is evil, it's evil. It's just crazy because like when black people do mass shootings and this and that, they get charged as a thug. Gangster, thug, he's a thug, da da da. I heard somebody call Colin Kaepernick a thug for kneeing. Y'all know I don't really fuck with Kaepernick, shit like that. But is he a thug? No. He's just a motherfucker trying to get political. So it's so crazy to me because I saw the story about the little fucking crazy white man, and he killed that 9-year-old black girl with a shovel, and then like stole her iPad. And the first thing they said was, "Oh, he's mental ill. He's mental ill." I'm like, nah, that motherfucker's just evil. He's just evil. And I said I was going to go to the Buffalo shooting last because they started talking about mental illness with him. That's not mental illness. He had a full agenda to go shoot black people. And you see that when he saw the white guy aim the gun, the white guy started screaming. And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." He wasn't mentally ill. He was evil. He had an evil plan. But what I don't get that bothers me, because I grew up in a different era. So the world is totally different than when it was when I was growing up, which is affecting me morally in a way, because now I'm raising kids up with a lot of the values I come up with. And I'm also trying to take away a lot of the negative values I come up with. I'm basically trying to make a perfect human so they can grow up and fuck their own life up, but it ain't on me. Right? They can grow up and make fucked up decisions and learn from them, but it ain't on me because daddy told you. At the same time, looking at 2022 and just where we are in the world, this mental illness thing fucks with me because, like I said, you got these evil people making evil plans and doing evil things. And instead of saying these motherfuckers is evil, we need to just kill these motherfuckers on PBS and let the world see it, make an example out of them so they're not praised. We're saying, well, they're mentally ill. Mentally ill. No, you help mentally ill people. You get them help. Evil bastards gotta die. That's just what it is. Mentally ill, that's like Down syndrome. And all that shit falls under mentally illness. Why are you putting these evil motherfuckers in the same category with a kid or a teenager or an adult that really has a mental illness? These motherfuckers is evil. But I find it ironic that our media and stuff says they're mentally ill. And to be honest, it's because they're white. Because the media can't say white people can do just evil things unless they're talking political. But when it's talking about white people, it's mental ill. If it was a black dude that did the same shit at a rap concert, it's evil. Evil is evil across the board. But I think, like I said, I think it's so fucking ironic that you can't call them evil. You call them mentally ill. But somebody who thinks they're born in the wrong body and wants to change their body because the whole transgender thing, that's not a mental illness. That's bravery. It's very fucking weird to me. Not transgenderism. That shit ain't weird to me. That shit is wrong to me, but that's to me. I also believe in liberty. I believe in America. You can have the right to do whatever the fuck you want, as long as it don't fuck with somebody else's freedom. But as far as labeling mental illness, to me, insanity is not being rooted in reality. A social reality. So when you say I'm a man, but I'm trapped in a woman's body, and it's not, you're not rooted in reality. You probably have a different reality, but you're not rooted in a social reality. The reality of this fucking realm. Somewhere in your mind, you elsewhere. That's insanity. Your truth is different than the reality. That is insanity. But you can't say that, because if you say that, you are a phobic of some kind, a bigot of some kind. But that same mental illness, you could attach it to evil. Could this mean that our society itself is mentally ill? Could this mean that our society itself is just evil? The truth only gonna hurt the devil. So why do we shy from the truth? Why do we have all these fictitious terms to take you away from the fact of what it is? Motherfucker, you going to school and shoot up babies, you evil. You go to a grocery store and shoot up a whole bunch of elderly black people, you're evil. If you go to a 4th of July parade, go to the rooftop like a coward and shoot innocent people, you're evil. There ain't no mental illness to that shit. You dress up like the Joker, go to the movie theater, shoot up people, you're evil. You go to a church in South Carolina, you're evil. Ain't no mental fucking illness. So then we get on talk about it like the gun laws and all this shit they trying to push, and it's always about mental illness. And nobody gets it. The reason why they're tying mental illness to the fucking gun laws is so when they put the money into it, how do we treat mental illness in America? Think about it. How do we treat it? You don't get a hug. You get dope. So now we talking guns and dope. That's what these bills is talking, guns and dope. We treat supposed mental illness with dope. Get these pills, get the pharmaceuticals. Who you think is pushing that shit? Who do you think pushed the Jackass party for a full year? We're going to talk about the vaccine. Who capitalized the most off of COVID? The pharmaceutical companies, the dope dealers, the legitimate dope dealers. So now we back to talking about this neighborhood thing that I was saying. When you got one bad apple in a bag with a bunch of it, it's all corrupted. I'd like to thank y'all for listening. This is Mango to Go, one time for the Mangaloids, and keep that Mangaloid challenge going. Hey, and if anybody wants to donate school supplies, I'm trying to get school supplies for a juvenile detention center. Anybody want to donate school supply? I don't want no fucking money from you. I don't want no money from you. I don't want shit but school supplies. If you're willing to do this for these juvenile youths, get at me. Email. You can find me on any social media. Get at me, and we can make this shit happen. All right? One love to you and your family, and y'all be safe.
Do you remember writing in your diary that freedom is the freedom to say 2 and 2 make 4?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?
4.
And if the party says it is not 4 but 5, then
4.
1/8. How many? 1/9. How many fingers, Winston?
4. 5. 4. Anything you like. Only stop the pain. Stop.
Involuntary. Done contrary to or without choice. Involuntary.
Immigrant.
Done contrary
Definition
to
1.
or without choice.
A person who immigrates.
Involuntary.
Immigrant.
Done contrary
Definition
to
1.
or without
A
choice.
person who comes
Done contrary to or without choice. Done contrary to or without choice. Done contrary to or without choice.
Definition 1. Immigrant. Definition 1. Unknown. Person who established plant or unknown.
Stand down, banger.
Unknown. Established.
Trying to free your mind.
What white people have to do is try to find out in their own hearts why it was necessary to have a nigger in the first place. But if you think I'm a nigger, it means you need it. The question you gotta ask yourself, the white population of this country's gotta ask itself. North and South, because it's one country, and for a Negro, there is no difference between North and the South. There's just a difference in the way they castrate you.
Who taught you to hate yourself?
Involuntary. Done contrary to or without choice.
Immigrant. Definition 1. A person who immigrates. Definition 2. A plant or animal that becomes established where it was previously unknown.